We've been joined by Anna Rocha, Director Plastics Program, to discuss more on this. Anna, thank you very much to have joined us. Anna, everyone's attention is now on this, global plastics treaty negotiations that are going on in Ottawa, in Canada. Could you share some of the highlights from the last negotiations that were held in Kenya this past October?
So in Kenya, we actually got to have a revised zero draft. There is a very long document and difficult for negotiations. So the outcome was not the best that we could have. And we also didn't agree on intersessional work. So we enter now Canada with a lot of work to do to make the negotiation document better and to ensure that we actually have enough time to negotiate the treaty that is needed.
Anna, I'd like to also understand, given that a first draft of such a resolution is still pending, what are the key demands that are being asked for by the civil society across the world or also from the member countries regarding the negotiation procedures?
So we need to remember that we are not talking about plastic pollution. Plastic is pollution. So without addressing the full life cycle of plastics, without ensuring that production is reduced, there is no way that we can end plastic pollution as is demanded by the UNEA 514 resolution. So the key demand from civil society here is to actually have plastic reduction, production reduction as part of the treaty. And the second main demand is to have a financial mechanism that allows developing countries and eligible countries in general the resources that they need to actually implement the treaty once the treaty is agreed.
All right. I know also your organization, Plastics Program, is really working with the endeavor to reduce plastic production in the next coming years and, of course, adhere to this global plastics treaty negotiations. What are the main issues and advocacies that you and your organization and organizations such as yours are bringing to this session? And how were the differing political or economic interests addressed in the last negotiation? What can we expect from the fourth session?
So we need a global target for production reduction. It cannot be a nationally determined target. It needs to be a global target that is agreed under the treaty and that keeps everybody accountable. So everyone knows what the production reduction is. We are calling for a reduction of between 12% and 70% a year in plastic production. That's one of our main advocacy points. And as I mentioned, we need to ensure that every country that doesn't have the resources to actually implement the treaty once the treaty is approved, get the resources that they need. So eligible countries in the global south, mostly in Asia, Africa, and Latin America, need to have access to the money, the resources, and the technical needs so that they can implement the treaty in an effective way.
Now, Anna, there are organizations, countries that are, of course, working together in order to come to a treaty that could be further ratified in South Korea later this year. But how can people like myself, like so many others, who are quite proactive and who are extremely, looking at the dangers of plastic pollution, how can we be part of the movement? Or how can we call upon organizations such as yourselves or the government in order to make the changes sooner than later?
So we need to remember that countries don't arrive at the negotiations and decide on their positions when they are here. They are actually reflecting, or they should reflect, the demands from their people in their own country, their populations, their communities. So it's the national demands that need to be reflected here. So everyone in any country who actually knows and understands the problem of the climate crisis, who actually wants this problem to be solved, need to be making pressure at the national level in their own countries to basically push their countries to represent their demands when they are in the negotiations. Countries need to represent their people. And so if their people speak up, we have better chances.
All right, finally, Anna, when you look at the plastic production, it has more than doubled in 20 years to 460 million tons. It is on track to be tripled in the next 4 decades. What you all of your organizations and the governments are working on is to reduce the plastic production by 75% till 2040. A, will you be able to achieve it? B, how can you force or pressurize all the companies that are producing plastic to reduce it? Because the way these figures are being given to us, it doesn't seem as if the organizations are in any interest to reduce their plastic production?
Well, if I didn't believe it was possible, I probably wouldn't be here trying to influence the negotiations. The simple fact that we are negotiating a plastic treaty right now is already a major victory that a lot of people didn't think was possible a couple of years ago. And many countries a couple of years ago said there is going to be no way that we will allow a plastic treaty to be negotiated. And somehow that happened. We are here and we are negotiating. So is it possible? Yes, it is possible. Is it easy? No, it's not easy. So we need to work very hard to make sure that we can do this. The plastics treaty per se, it regulates countries. So the commitment is between countries and not industry. So we need to have strong enough provisions in the treaty that will keep countries into account, so then these countries can regulate their own industries. Will every single country in the world ratify the treaty? Probably not. Do we need all of them to ratify the treaty? Probably not as well. There are many other ways to ensure that things happen, including through trade mechanisms. So what we need to make sure at this point is that as many countries as possible go with the right ambition, agree to production reduction, agree to the financial mechanisms that are needed, and then others will follow.
All right. Thank you so very much, Anal Rocha, Director Plastics Program, to have joined us to highlight the effects of plastic pollution and how organizations such as yourselves, along with the governments, are working together in order to reduce plastic production by 2040 to 75%. Thank you very much to have joined us.